There is one photo editor that I could no longer do without since I was introduced to it last year, and if you're a portrait, commercial wedding or events photographer and you're capturing hundreds of faces per photo shoot, then Evoto is simply outstanding, and I don't say that lightly. I use it almost daily and the results are ridiculous. But hey, don't take my word for it, I could just show you. Now, I have done a video on Evoto before, however, this is a brand new update with added and much improved AI features, which makes Evoto one of the best photo editors for portraiture in the business. You will find chapters on the playhead below so you can follow along to the main features and the new AI features, but I'll start with what Evoto does so very well, which is blemish removal and skin retouching. So here's a portrait of a man. Zooming in, we can see some red blemishes from a shaving rash, some spots on his neck. He has freckles and a couple of spots on his forehead and under the skin. Heading into blemish removal, let's crank up the main slider to 100%, and within less than a second, all of those spots and shaving rash have gone. So too have those freckles, which we can reinstate using the freckle slider. A few spots still remain on his neck, so we can use body blemish to get rid of those. And if you want to bring back any features that the AI removed, then you can use the manual blemish adjustment and paint the mask away on those areas. Also, because this is a male retouch, you might want to enhance the skin texture using matte. And if you look closely at his right cheek, you can see how nice that little bit of texture looks. Or perhaps a satin finish, and within 90 seconds, we have a retouched portrait. Quite incredible. Now, how about a female retouch? Here's Amy Kitts and a raw file I took about 5 years ago. And if we get in close, there are some spots under her makeup, a beauty spot. The eyes are a little dull and lots of flyaway hairs. So skin blemishes have gone, but let's just reinstate that beauty spot with about a 70% opacity. So it is present, just not quite as obvious now. A couple of body blemishes we can get rid of. Smile line, let's see what 100% does. And I think that's too much, so maybe 50%. And let's just sort out the dark circles under her eyes. Moving on to skin retouching with this powerful dodge and burn feature, which is basically the same as frequency separation, meaning that the skin tones get smoothed out while retaining the skin texture. Just look at her cheek here. Now we can deal with the skin texture separately. You are going to want to use this sparingly, as 100% really makes the skin almost like a porcelain doll. I would suggest around 25% on this image. And how about a skin preset of dewy? That's nice. An issue that you can sometimes run into with girls' makeup is that it won't match the rest of her body skin, as you can see here. It's a more natural skin tone on the chest area. Thankfully, Evoto has a new AI feature called Unified Body Complexion. So let's just see that again. And it does what it says on the tin, matches the body skin tones to the face. Now, when I took this photo, I think my white balance was a bit off on the day. So using the rosy complexion slider, we can find the sweet spot around 15% to add a little more natural skin color. One of my favorite features within the makeup drop-down menu is called Contour, which naturally adds shape to the shadow areas of the face, like the nose, cheeks, and jawline. I'm going to leave that at 100%. Now onto the eyes. And when cranking up the master slider, we then have manual control over the separate parts like sclera, which is the whites of the eyes, iris, which will enhance those greens. Eye reflections deals with the softbox catch lights in the eye, maybe 25%, and iris flare is that lower quadrant of the eye. Going to use that sparingly. Quick before and after, and that's looking really nice. Stray hairs, very obvious in this portrait, and Evoto has a very welcome upgrade in this department where you can control hairs within the figure outlines or outside. You'll notice here some obvious stray hairs, but around 30% handles those nicely. Oh, and I forgot one other new feature within the skin retouching tab, which deals with dry, flaky, and wrinkled lips. So you can see these deep lines smooth out perfectly and naturally at around 50%. Finally, one last thing we can change on this portrait is the background. Heading over to the background menu, we have this option called Headshot Background Changer. So let's just try black or perhaps a different fabric texture. And zooming in shows us just how good the AI has maintained the outline of Amy's hair. And in just over 3 minutes, here's that final retouch. A retouch that would normally take around 25 to 30 minutes without Evoto. Now here's why this photo editor absolutely knocks it out of the park. There are another 20 images of Amy in this gallery, and if we select all of those, open up the sync settings menu, I'll turn off background adjustments because there are various backgrounds in this portrait session. Click sync and you can see here in real time each of those images being automatically retouched using the parameters I set on the first image. And within 44 seconds, 20 images have been professionally retouched. It's quite brilliant. Alternatively, you can save this retouch as a preset. Let's call it Amy Kits. Put it in a group called My Portraits and click Save. Then you can find that retouch preset in the corresponding drop-down menu. Putting this into practice, let's just reset all of those effects on one of the images and apply this newly created preset. And of course, we can manually apply that background changer should you so wish. Another couple of new features in the latest Evoto update is going to deal with red veins in the eyes and mismatched color tones in the face skin. Firstly, red veins can be removed without any bother. For a more natural look, let's dial it back to around 75%. Now, those red puffy eye bags, which don't match the rest of his skin complexion, we can sort within the Skin Retouching tab and this new AI Unify face complexion. And just watch this. The redness in those sections now have a uniform tone along with the rest of the face. And of course, we can use eye wrinkle and dark circle to further reduce down the puffiness. Have you ever had to deal with clothing creases during portrait editing? Yes, absolutely, virtually on every photo shoot. Evoto has an answer for that as well. You can see some baggy creases in the sleeves and the waistcoat. Opening up this menu, clothing adjustments are separated into fine and coarse removal. So let's apply 100% and just look at that. Keeping the texture, the clothes are now wrinkle-free. Perhaps we can bring back these smaller details simply by dialing down that slider. We have yet another new AI feature which has been released with the latest update called Glasses Glare. This is brilliant. We have a set of images I took of a famous UK entertainer. A really nice, funny guy. But at the start of this photo session, I was having trouble with his glasses. And if we zoom in a bit, you can see the spectacles reflecting the studio lights. And this image, you can clearly see those bluey green reflections across the iris of his eyes. And Evoto has a brilliant way to tackle this issue. And you can find it in either the blemish removal tab called Glasses Glare or in the Eyes tab. And they both do exactly the same thing. So let's crank this all the way up to 100 and zoom in to see the results. It's completely removed that nasty green reflection in about a second. Quite brilliant. Let's try this image with the nasty green over the iris. Completely gone. And if you notice, the catch lights from the softbox reflection remain intact, which is exactly what we want. So let's see how this deals with extreme glare from glasses. Lots of colors in these spectacles and quite cloudy reflections. Also, detail has been lost in her eyelashes. Not a problem for Evoto. Let's just see that again. Wow. This last image has severe glare. Virtually no detail in her skin under the eyes because of the bounce reflector I was using when I took the shot. Now just watch this. When I saw this for the first time, I was quite blown away. Detail completely restored under the eyes. That's a game changer in itself. Now, with all of these new features, there is one in particular which has me very excited, and it's tethering and retouching at the same time. Let's head downstairs and I'll show you what I mean. Right, as you can see, I have a studio set up for a quick headshot session because this new update on Evoto features tethered shooting, meaning that you can connect your camera directly to the software. You can take images of your client and it loads into the software with a preset applied in real time. That's a game changer. Let me show you. So over here on the right-hand side, we have tethered shooting panel, and you can see here we've got the camera which is connected, which is my Sony a7 IV. Shutter is 250th of a second, aperture 7.1 and ISO 100, and this is an on-screen shutter button. And down here is where we can choose our preset, and I've created a preset called Mark's Tethered Test. And what this is going to do is sort out some of the glasses reflections, all that nasty green, some of the bags under the eyes, skin texture. It's going to remove some of the stray hairs from my beard. It's going to sort out some of the creases in the t-shirt, and it's going to create a nice smooth background and get rid of some of this texture. Also, I'm going to brighten the eyes as well. So to take the shot, I have face detect enabled on my Sony camera. I have a Bluetooth remote to fire the shutter, and I'm going to wear my spectacles to get some of that nasty green reflections from the key light. And here is the image captured, and within 3 seconds, the retouch preset is applied. Zooming in, we can see that green glasses glare gone. Eyes have been brightened along with an eye bag reduction. Skin texture has evened out nicely without being overly obvious. Stray hairs along the beard line sorted. T-shirt creases have reduced down nicely. And finally, we have a clean, smooth background using the clean, solid backdrop auto detect feature. And we can see that in action using this little blue switch. Now, tethering within Evoto's latest update, it's an absolute game changer in my opinion. It's so useful on a portrait session because if you have a client who is particularly conscious of their skin or their appearance in general, you can apply an instant retouch which allows them to view the image in real time and give them a huge amount of confidence and peace of mind. This is particularly useful if you have a portrait session for a modeling campaign, and you can show the client in real time what the image might look like once it's delivered. I mean, come on. Now, shining eyes is another way to add twinkle to dull eyes. Watch this. Within the eyes tab, under the brightening section, you can find catch lights. This is an indoor portrait, so let's just try out a few. Here's a suitable one. We can make the catch lights more intense, position them in the direction of where the natural light source would be, rotate them for the correct orientation, and boom. Couple that with the eye brightening features we've already touched on, and we have fantastic sparkling eyes. How about that? And of course, Evoto isn't just for portraits. You can use the power of this editor to add sky replacements to landscapes. Going with a recommended sky, we can either choose one with the standard blues or throw in a nice sunset. Also notice how the water reflections match the sky replacement. How about this feature where you can darken down the center part line of the hair? You can find it in the hair drop down called Fill Hair Part Line. And wow, let's just see that again. Quite incredible. And of course we can remove those stray hairs on the side as well. Inside the color adjustments panel, we now have what's called AI color looks, where Evoto's AI algorithm will show you the color results that best fit the scene based on the actual performance of the image. You can experiment with the intensity of the sliders to find your ideal finish. There are a huge amount of editing possibilities within Evoto, far too many to mention in this single video. The platform uses a credit system where you buy the credits and one of those credits gets used up per exported photo. And this includes all of the new features in the latest update. If you export the same image twice, then still only 1 credit gets used up. New users of Evoto receive an additional 30 credits for free by clicking the link in the description below, so you can get to try out the power of this AI photo editor for yourself. That's it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give us a thumbs up if you did, please. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more photography content, and I'll see you on the flip side.